Those things that were said or done were reflections and manifestations that were caused by your programming. Okay, so let it go. Forgive your SP, forgive yourself. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In case you're new here, my name is Kim. This is Core Union. I want to talk today about worrying and how that can cause delays. This is kind of like a public service announcement. It should be relatively short and sweet. And I apologize for the background noise here. I had this idea of a dream gym. I have manifested losing. At one point I was over 350 pounds and I manifested losing a ton of weight and getting extremely muscular. Again, another video. Anyway, it's on the way. Sorry for the long introduction. But today I want to talk specifically around how we can cause delays. And I'm going to use a couple 3D circumstances and whatever else I'm called to talk about in this lesson, in this video. So before I get further into this, if you do love my content and if you want me to be your coach, I can help you manifest your specific person back, or to change the dynamic, I can also help you manifest anything related to weight loss, health, finances, security, promotions, successful business, because I have successfully manifested all of it. So if you do want me to be your coach, email me a short description to kim@coreunion.com. And then my website is super simple. Go to my website, coreunion.com, and you can schedule a single session or a package. My scheduling assistant will get back to you as soon as possible. All right. When I had the interior design business that I had manifested, because I was actively reverse engineering how to manifest, I also had a deep, deep, deep desire to coach people. But I wasn't done yet with this 3D experiment. And there were aspects of it that I really did love. And if you didn't see my previous videos, I ended up, I had early on, I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor with cardboard boxes as my nightstands. I only had a couple bath towels to my name. Every night when I went to sleep, I was actually falling asleep in my dream bedroom with my dream bed, dream furniture. It was beautiful. It was everything that I wanted. I was, had a ton of money in the bank. And I'm saying this meaning those things weren't true yet, but I embodied the fulfillment and the trust that it was already done and it already existed. So energetically, even though in the 3D I was seeing something very different, it didn't matter because I trusted in my end. And I always went from the highest level of operation down. So I had complete trust in myself as being a very powerful manifester. And my number one relationship is with my creator. You can label that whatever you want. It doesn't matter. There are plenty of people that I've even coached that have manifested their specific person back, for example, and they don't think of themselves as being the God of their reality. There are others who do, but that part doesn't matter. The part from my perspective that does matter is that you trust that what's in your core, in your heart and soul, is already done and it's already existing. And that you trust the process. It's okay if when you're starting out, you are wavering, because that's actually part of the awakening process. And it's okay as long as you don't stay ruminating in the opposite of what you want. Some people enjoy using techniques. Other people just want to shift and live from the end. If you are somebody that can just shift and live from the end, that's wonderful. But here's the thing that I just want to say before I get into these 3D examples of how you can cause delays. If you are saying, I'm not worried about this, I don't need to do any process, I know that I'm the creator of my reality and that my end exists, and I have shifted into that. If when you do affirm for or think of your specific person, for example, and if you get highly triggered and anxious and in fear, then technically you haven't actually shifted. And so you might want to look into doing some form of something just to get yourself in a place where you trust yourself and you trust your abilities and you trust your specific person. Usually, the reason why you're anxious and edgy and frustrated is because you're really believing that your circumstances with them matters, but your circumstances were actually a previous manifestation of your previous self-concept. So what happens sometimes to cause delays is when it's your refusal to accept all of the things that I just talked about. It's your refusal to accept that your reality already exists. It's your refusal to trust yourself. It's your refusal to trust that your inner work, whatever the process is that you choose to do, is working. And your refusal to actually trust and believe in the best version of yourself and your specific person in the relationship. So if you're still holding on to the past of, well, he said this, they said that, she said this, they said that, this happened, we have this problem or that problem, and you're labeling them and you're labeling yourself and you're like focusing on attachment styles and these diagnoses and this problem and that problem, that causes worry and that causes delay. Okay. So the 3D example, for whatever reason, that I woke up thinking about, and again, more might come out through the video, was when I did have the interior design business. I was, again, walking the walk, talking the talk. I had a client. Every time I had a client place an order with me, they were ordering, a client could order $100 worth of something or order 23, 25, $30,000 worth of something with one order. A lot of times they were custom orders, and those custom orders had to be created and made for the clients. In normal times, before the collective global situation that we all manifested a few years back, in normal times, it took some time. It could take anywhere from 4 to 8 to 12 weeks, depending on the item. When I was fearful that people weren't going to accept to wait, then the manifestation I would keep experiencing was whether I was there being the one to ring up the customer or if it was one of my employees, the experience was that they weren't willing to wait and that they would move on and go order somewhere else. And the irony is that every store, unless they stock the items for custom items, everyone had to wait. So obviously, it was something within my fear in my belief system that was the worry that was creating this experience. So once I got past that and I saw it that everybody was willing to wait, everybody was willing to wait. Now move fast forward on to a couple years later after I had a couple years under my belt. And when I would have a client start to worry, because I had so many experiences of seeing what happened now to the customers' orders when they were worried about it, I would always tell people when I was ringing them up, okay, so this item on your order is going to take 8 weeks. Please don't worry about this, because what I've seen over the past couple of years is when somebody does worry about this, something ultimately always ends up happening to their order. So just relax about it, and most likely it actually could get to us even sooner. The majority of customers would just literally say, it's okay. I trust you. I know that it's going to happen. I'm not going to worry about it. It's okay. I want to use a particular example of one particular customer. She was a miserable little negative Nelly. I don't know how else to describe her. She was, while we were checking out, and by the way, if somebody was really anxious and edgy, I would literally just say, okay, I appreciate you, but we're not going to do this, because those were the people who would always end up causing more problems. And it was just more headaches that I was like, life is too short. The money isn't worth the headache that this is going to be. So why don't you go buy the furniture somewhere else where you obviously, I don't want this business. So, and I know a lot of people are like, but you could have just seen it differently. Okay, when you are literally bringing in $100,000 a month and you have hundreds of people you're dealing with, you don't need to micromanage things like that. It's just like, if this one person that this was going to be $10,000, if this falls through, I'm going to have $50,000 worth of orders in a matter of just a few days. So I'm not really going to worry about this. That's manifesting, in my opinion, more powerfully. So don't get too caught up in trying to literally micromanage and change every single little thing. So anyway, this one particular client, she was just miserable. I explained the same thing to her and she was just like, yeah, whatever. But I didn't feel the need to not move forward with her. After I told her now that it's going to be like 8 to 12 weeks, whatever it was, within about a week, she started calling, like, is my order in yet? And I literally would go back and say, do you remember when we had this conversation? We're only a week through. You have a good 7 to 11 more weeks to go. Yeah. And then she would leave me alone for a little bit. And then another week, she would keep hounding me as if her hounding me was going to get it done quicker. About the time where her order was about to ship, her order, and let's just say there were 40 other customers' orders getting ready to be loaded up on the freight truck. First, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I got a notification that someone's order was being delayed because of like a part that wasn't available. So out of the other customers, let's just say it was 40, 39 of those customers' orders got loaded and the one customer order. And I looked in, and of course, it ended up being hers. This kept happening to the point where now they were finished with her order. Now, this was a couple weeks later because they got the parts and they were finished with it. They loaded up on a freight truck alone. That freight truck, somewhere in the middle of the country, ends up with a motor problem. The motor literally fell out of the truck. They literally had to reroute, like get help to come out, somehow tow that truck back to the original destination and wait again for another, like whatever the load was that was going to come to the area again. This is just a perfect 3D example of how when you are worried about something, all the cooperative components that need to come together will come together in order to prove yourself right, to let you see, yes, you have reason to be anxious about this here. In the same exact way, when you just relax and you're just trusting into it, like a lot of the customers did, oftentimes their orders actually got completed much sooner than expected with no problems at all. And oftentimes we ended up delivering to that customer before the initial quote or estimate that I gave them. Okay, so in the same way, all of the cooperative components came together over and over and over again for her to cause delays, to prove to her that she is always right. That's all that our reality is always doing. Our reality is our mirror, always showing us that we are correct, we are right, regardless of whether we're focusing on what we want or don't want. We're always going to be proven right. The cooperative components and everything that needs to happen, all of the movement that needs to happen, whether it's 1 or 1 million men, I don't even know if that's the phrase exactly that Neville Goddard said, but no matter what needs to happen is happening, and it's happening right now in order for you to be able to experience what you actually desire. Your refusal to actually accept this and trust in it out of fear of disappointment, fear that you're going to be hurt, or fear because it's too good to be true, that in itself is going to prove itself to you. So do yourself a favor, get clear of what it is that you want. If you need help, just reach out for coaching, like I said. Trust that that didn't exist, or you simply wouldn't even be able to desire it. Do whatever you need to do. You want to maintain a mental diet that dominantly or frequently you are knowing that your end exists. Whether it's that you go straight to the fact that you know that you are the creator of your reality, without doing that to try to bypass because you're afraid, because you don't actually trust your SP. If you don't trust your SP, you haven't let go of the resentment that you have because of the things that were said or done. Those things that were said or done were reflections and manifestations that were caused by your programming. Okay, so let it go. Forgive your SP, forgive yourself, and then get clear again of who you guys are to each other and what the relational dynamic is that you guys have with each other. So I can help you with the inner work to do with this, but if you want to do it on your own, do whatever you have to do to shift into your power of unconditional love. Again, what I said in the beginning of the video, I believe I mentioned it. It doesn't matter how you choose to believe, as long as you do have some form of trust in the process. And yes, I know that it does take time to trust. So if you're not trusting it yet, keep persisting. If you're not feeling it yet, keep persisting. You will eventually. With me, when I'm manifesting things, I focus on the end and I trust in that. The same way, if you're getting ready to go on vacation, you're still at work, but you're living from the end of embodying what it feels like to be on vacation because you know you're about to be on vacation. So it's okay if you still know that you're at work, but you're feeling into the freedom of that you're about to be on vacation. That's a form of living from the end, just feeling into what it's going to feel like when you are in the relationship. You can also imagine, like, create the dynamic of the two of you guys, loving, passionate, laughter, having fun together by imagining things in the middle, but just don't get stuck in the middle. So you can manifest living from the end and for the middle progressive steps. Just don't get stuck in the middle. Just be balanced with everything. Okay. Anyway, I pray that this video helped a lot of you guys. Please do affirm down below that you trust in yourself, you trust in your heart and soul, and reach out to me if you need me. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Nothing can come, nothing can come, nothing can come between us.